Part 29. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 281. Snort. Snort. The four little ones sitting at the restaurant table were eating noodles quite loudly. Is it delicious? Murong Shui asked. Good times, Li Biwu, the king of support, will never be absent. Expressed his feelings and satisfaction immediately. Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei also said it was delicious, even though their father cooked the noodles and their mother put the seasonings. Although I added a little too much vinegar and a little too much salt, it was still edible. Li Donglong hesitated for a while, and then said, "It's a good stab, eat it." When Li Chen showed a smile, the other three little ones on the table breathed a sigh of relief. Murong Shui also smiled with satisfaction. After eating, Li Chen said, "Li Donglong, go wash the dishes." Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei did not leave the restaurant. They thought it would be their turn, but after waiting for a long time, they found that their father had not arranged for them, and their faces suddenly became happy. "Hurry up and change your clothes and shoes. Let's get ready to go out," Li Chen said to Li Zifeng and the others. "Okay," Li Zifeng nodded decisively. As for the big pot being arranged to wash dishes in the kitchen, it has nothing to do with her. Li Nanfei glanced at the cauldron. History is always surprisingly similar. At the beginning, when I first met my father, I was also not welcomed in the same way. Until I met the second sister, she became the most pitiful one. I didn't expect the second sister to be conquered by Dad so quickly, poor cauldron. He estimated that the cauldron might not be favored by his father for a long time. After all, accent is a big pot that cannot be thrown away. He knew how much Li Chen disliked this accent. Li Donglong stood silently by the sink, his mouth curled up. Even though he was assigned to wash dishes here, he still maintained his pride. Just washing dishes. Why am I, Li Donglong, afraid? Following yesterday's steps, Li Donglong was clearly doing his job very well today. Some things happen once and become familiar twice. The more you do it, the easier it will be to discover. After finally cleaning up the kitchen, Li Donglong looked at the family who had changed their clothes and shoes, and said blankly, "What about me? I'll give you 3 minutes to change your clothes, pants, and shoes. Don't wait until you're late." Li Chen led Li Biwu out. "Brother, come on," Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei encouraged him. Li Donglong looked dull, turned around and ran into his room, quickly changing his clothes, pants, and shoes. He swore he had never been so impatient. The etiquette taught to him by his grandfather was all forgotten at this time. After finishing it in one go, Li Donglong rushed out of the villa and found that they had all started their vehicles. "Wait for me. Close the door." "No, no, no, no." Li Donglong's face turned red. Li Chen silently pointed to the door of the villa behind him and said, "I told you to close the door." "Li Donglong. You didn't tell me earlier. Please speak clearly." Li Donglong was unable to complain because he was afraid that Li Chen would just run away with his mother and 3 younger siblings. Panting, he ran to the back seat of the car, and Li Donglong finally sat down. "Brother, these clothes of yours. Why are the clothes swollen?" "I won't throw them away." Li Donglong stared at Li Nanfei. "If you dare to mention something again, I will turn against you." Li Nanfei shut up immediately. Big brother is so irritable. You didn't even hear me finish. Cauldron. Are you Kinson? Li Donglong has a bad temper. Your cards, there is no guessing. Li Donglong. Murong Shui, who was sitting in the passenger seat, covered her mouth and almost laughed. What could be more embarrassing than this social death? Li Zifeng coughed, looked at her elder brother who was blushing, and took out a small knife from the car to remove the brand from the clothes. For a moment, the only awkward sound in the car was the sound of the air conditioner blowing. Ahem. Li Chen asked, Shui, what are the more expensive properties here? When Murong Shui saw Li Chen opening his mouth to help Li Donglong, she also suppressed her smile and said, when it comes to expensive real estate, there are quite a few. Dongshan Condo, Fanyu 108, Test Tube Number 1 Hospital, Number 8 Hessian Ziaoun Road, Wanliu Academy, Panga Grand View, Beijing Number 1 Hospital, Shaochuan Zirui, Zidin Shangguo Palace, and China Zun. These are all it is among the top 10 properties. Even the Dongshan Condo at the bottom starts at 150,000 yuan per square meter. The property Murong Shui mentioned is definitely one of the most luxurious properties in the capital at the moment. But this is only relative to the general population. However, there are places where there are no residences. Just like the China Tower, this is the tallest landmark building in the capital. It is also a building that integrates grade A office buildings, conferences, commerce, sightseeing, and other supporting services. This is not a place to live. However, places like Shangguokui in Zidin are suitable for living. This is a residential building with 2 slabs and towers, 2 staircases and 3 households. It is only tailor-made for 82 households of high-grade people. It can be said that the aristocratic temperament has reached the extreme. The unit price of this place is 187,000 square meter, which is beyond the reach of ordinary people. Li Chen asked, is there any more? Yes, Diaotai number 7 Courtyard, Ziyagong Mansion, Gongyuan number 6, Tahoe Beijing Courtyard, Pearl River Imperial View, Ziyue Villa, Courtyard on the bank of the canal, Ziyuhua Mansion, these are all. Diaotai Courtyard No 7, Li Chen's eyes lit up slightly. You, don't want to go here, Murong Shui's face was alert. Don't joke, they can't even think about this place now. Although the location of this community is very good, it is also on the West Third Ring Road. The key is that there is Yuyuantan, and Zhongguancun is nearby. Needless to say, there are many universities and colleges. But you have to know that this is the most expensive house. The price once reached 300,000 yuan per square meter. How dare ordinary people buy it? The appearance alone is magnificent. A house of about 300 square meters is 60 to 70 million. And this is just the basic cost. Counting miscellaneous things, it is really not difficult to spend hundreds of millions. Thinking that Li Chen has to buy a house for each of the 4 children, Murong Shui rolled her eyes. What about Gongyuan No 6, Li Chen asked again. Murong Shui wanted to cry. This guy always picked the most outrageous. This courtyard is known as one of the most expensive communities in Beijing. Because the people who live here are basically dignitaries. Therefore, this place is also called a feng shui treasure land by many people. As for the price, even if it is not as high as Diaotai Courtyard number 7, it is not much different. The 4 little ones sitting in the back seat of the car looked at each other. Even if Li Chen did not explain it in advance, the 4 of them could probably guess it now. Xiao Wu, Gongyuan number 6 and Diaotai Courtyard number 7, where do you want to go? Li Chen asked. Murong Shui glared at Li Chen. Xiao Wu is still so young, what does she know? Go to Diaotai. Li Chen shut his mouth obediently. Forget it, he shouldn't ask this little guy with pronunciation problems. Look, Xiao Wu said to go to Diaotai, so let's go there directly. Li Chen found a perfect reason for himself. As long as you buy a house, you will definitely spend money like water. For example, buying a house requires paying deed tax, stamp tax, house maintenance fund, food price adjustment fund, transaction fee, cost of house ownership certificate, cost of land use certificate, etc. This one is not going to be cheap. After buying a house for 4 children, the cash back is expected to increase rapidly. Then I will buy a house for Shui, because Shui already has a house, and the price of the second house will be even more outrageous. With this calculation, the money will come, Right. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 282. Li Chen drove there. If it wasn't for Master Zhao Dezu last time, it would have been impossible for him to bring the two children in. It was only then that Li Chen realized that his cheap master Zhao Dezu's power had reached this level. But it's not surprising, after all, Zhao Dezu's current level is already the undisputed number one. If he didn't cheat the system, it would be impossible to catch up with Zhao Dezu. A genius doctor of this level is always a guest of honor wherever he goes. He naturally makes friends with dignitaries and bigwigs from all sides. I'm afraid that even Master himself doesn't know how wide his network of contacts is. Seeing that Li Chen insisted on going to Diaotai Courtyard number 7, Murong Shui felt a little reluctant. After all, Li Chen's money is not much. More than 600 million is indeed a lot, but after buying houses for several children, there won't be much left. How can he make more than 100 billion in a month? Murong Shui was worried. Li Chen had never thought about this question. In his mind, he had already prepared a plan. Soon, the car stopped at a nearby parking lot. Li Chen took out his mobile phone and dialed Zhao Dezu's number. Hello? Master. Hiss, what's up? Li Chen held the phone a little further away from his ear. Did he hear it wrong? Such a soul-stirring cry. That. Li Chen decided to ignore the old man's comfortable voice and said, I want to buy a suite for a few little guys here. Can Diaotai number 7 courtyard be done? This, oh, cough cough, can be done, you go in first, I'll make a call. Master, beep beep. Li Chen looked at the phone that was hung up decisively speechlessly. Master, is he not having a big health check? Not that bad, right? He looked very respectable and serious before. Li Chen shook his head and decided not to speculate. After all, he was his cheap master. Oh, it feels good, help me press this acupuncture point more, Zhao Dezu instructed, and at the same time dialed a number and said, Hello, it's me, Lao Zhao. Yes, my apprentice went to buy a house, Diaotai number 7 courtyard. Yes, 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 you arrange someone to receive him. No need, spend as much as you should, he doesn't need that little money. Yes, 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 buy a house for his child. Okay, I will help you adjust your body some other day, it's necessary, let you fight for 3 days without falling, just kidding, I never joke. Okay, I'm going to massage, hang up. Oh, add some strength here too. Li Chen said to Murong Shui and the 4 children, let's go, if you like any house type, just choose it directly, understand? Okay, Li Biwu nodded immediately. Li Donglong hesitated and said, you, want to buy a house for us here? Yes, Li Chen hugged Li Biwu and nodded. 1 set per person. Wouldn't it be too much? Li Donglong hesitated, thinking that he would rather pay off his mother's debts with the money. Then don't give up your set. Li Chen pondered for a moment and said seriously. Li Donglong. Please be a human being. I think, I can still accept it, Li Donglong said seriously. Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei rolled their eyes. Brother, why are you doing this? Your personality has collapsed. You are still a little boss. Can you have some shame? You compromised so quickly? Just after Li Chen came in with Li Biwu, Murong Shui, and 3 little kids, a man immediately walked into the deserted sales hall. Excuse me, are you Mr. Li Chen? The man was about 32 or 33 years old, mature and steady. Standing 2 meters away from Li Chen, he bowed slightly and said in a low and respectful voice. Murong Shui, who saw this scene, couldn't help but look at Li Chen in surprise. Why do the staff here know Li Chen? Is it because of the previous phone call? Is it Zhao Dezu? Thinking of Zhao Dezu, Murong Shui's heart was somewhat enlightened and understood. Only people like Zhao Dezu can travel freely throughout the country, right? Hello, I am Li Chen, held Li Biwu with one hand and stretched out his right hand. The man immediately came over, flattered, and shook Li Chen's hand. Mr. Li, I am the sales manager, you can just call me Xiao Liang. Manager Liang, it's like this, I want to buy a house for each of my 4 children. As soon as Li Chen opened his mouth, Manager Liang was shocked. He thought he would buy only one house. Even if he only bought one house, it would probably be close to 100 million. This kind of people are already the most outstanding group of human beings. He never expected that this person would start with 4 houses, and his heart almost stopped. No wonder the boss called him personally and said that he should treat him well. If he treats him well, he will not have to worry about food and clothing. Now, he wanted to kowtow to the boss on the spot. 4 sets, Manager Liang swallowed his saliva and tried to stay calm. Wait a minute, Li Chen suddenly hesitated again. Shui, did you buy that house in your name? Yes, Murong Shui, who was wearing a mask, nodded, and Manager Liang didn't dare to look at her. Although the woman was dressed ordinary, he still recognized some brands. This outfit must be expensive. Manager Liang, if my wife has a house, buy another one. Manager Liang immediately said, Mr. Li, if this is the case, you have to buy another house. I'm afraid it will cost a lot of money. What if you buy it in her name? Li Chen asked again. 5 years of tax payment certificate, valid temporary residence permit, of course you have a house here, you don't have to worry about this, you are married, then you need to bring your marriage certificate, ID card, and household registration book. In addition, if you buy a house with a loan, the down payment must be 60%. Oh, so, I don't want a loan, I pay in full. Cough, cough, cough. Manager Liang almost coughed out his lungs. Is it so arrogant? Li Chen looked at Murong Shui and said, we haven't got the certificate yet. Manager Liang widened his eyes, and looked at the 4 children who looked quite similar to Li Chen, and couldn't help but admire him in his heart. Or, get a certificate another day, Li Chen said. Luckily, Murong Shui was wearing a mask, and she hummed softly, even if she blushed, no one saw it. Then buy 4 sets first, in the name of my children, they are all local residents, Li Chen pointed at the 4 children. Manager Liang had been numb to the shock, so he didn't say anything and asked them to go to the real house to see it. The rest were just fake tricks. You have to see it in person to know whether the house is good or not. Following Manager Liang, Li Chen's family of 6 got on the small car in the park and went straight inside. The best environment here is still the few buildings near the innermost, Manager Liang introduced, the area is different. You can see the tablet in front of you. There are detailed introductions. I wonder if Mr. Li likes a small area or a large area. Large area. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 283. When Li Chen saw the panorama and VR pictures above, he couldn't help but be speechless. How scary. He thought that the so-called large area meant 100, 40, and 50 square meters. It wasn't until this moment that Li Chen realized that he had thought wrong. In such a place where land is at a premium, there are actually more than 300 square meters of houses. The interior decoration and layout alone are 98% better than anything on the market. Even a rich kid from a small place like Li Chen can tell that the furniture and facilities here are all high-end goods. These are all well-decorated houses, and the materials used are all top-notch. I am afraid they will easily exceed 100 million, right? 388 flat, Li Chen looked at Murong Shui. Even though Murong Shui had seen the world, he was a little dull. The house of nearly 400 square meters is more than enough for their family of 6. How about, just buy a set? Murong Shui felt a little worried about money. Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei also looked at Li Chen eagerly, and they could feel Li Chen's love. With such a heart, they feel it is enough. Li Chen took Murong Shui's little hand and said, if you agree on 4 things, you must do it. Li Chen said, then glanced at the 4 little guys and said, what's more, I didn't even accompany them, and they suffered so many years of grievance. In the final analysis, it's my fault. As for me, I don't know how to say sensational words, let alone express my love. So, in order to ease my conscience, I think I'd better buy it. At this moment, even Li Donglong's eyes were red. The 4 little ones all looked at Li Chen silently. Besides, when they become sensible and grow up, they will definitely have to get married and have children. You can't be a father and not prepare anything for them, right? Li Chen smiled and said, in the future, when they have their own home, they won't have to live with us. Li Donglong. Li Zifeng, Sigma, // A. Li Nanfei, Omega Omega. Li Biwu. At this moment, even the youngest Li Biwu understood. After working on it for a long time, Dad had other plans. Murong Shui, who had already been immersed in it, was so ashamed and angry that she died of shame. This bastard is really not serious. The 4 brothers and sisters, headed by Li Donglong, all snorted. Fake, fake, all fake. He didn't buy us a house for our own good. He just wanted to live alone with his mother. Do we just provide free shipping? Manager Liang, who was sitting at the front, almost couldn't hold back his laughter. This Mr. Li really has a wonderful mind. The good family atmosphere was completely changed by him. Soon, the car arrived. Manager Liang immediately took Li Chen and others upstairs. Security measures are in place and you need to swipe your card or face to enter. Needless to say, the environment of the community cannot be bad in this area. After entering the large house, Manager Liang directly opened the most luxurious one. It was spotless inside and seemed to be cleaned regularly. The lighting is in place, and every area from the living room to the kitchen to the dining room to the balcony is amazing. Needless to say, the room is warm and comfortable. Li Chen felt the floor materials here, including the furniture materials, and they were almost all top-notch. Even if I followed Manager Liang around slowly and looked carefully, it took almost a quarter of an hour. All facilities are both intelligent and manual. It will not be unusable without power due to power outages or wiring errors. After completing the whole circle, the 4 little ones were very satisfied. Li Chen and Murong Shui sat directly on the sofa. Manager Liang stood aside and said, Mr. Li, are you satisfied with this set? Li Chen waved to Li Donglong and said, do you like it? Li Donglong, whose name was called, never expected that the first house Li Chen bought would be for him. You are not allowed to speak accurately today, Li Chen said seriously. Li Donglong's face turned red and he nodded fiercely, I'm satisfied. Okay, Li Chen waved his hand and said, that's it? Murong Shui. Manager Liang. Is this too hasty? Would it be too hasty? After all, it's a house worth hundreds of millions, so why don't you hesitate? If you are so bold and free-spirited, I will be very panicked. Yes, Manager Liang is in a panic now. He has never completed a business so quickly. Li Chen touched Murong Shui and said, Shui, take out their household registration book and fill in all the information first. Let's take a look at it slowly. Murong Shui didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but she didn't refute in the end. Manager Liang took the certificate with trembling fingers. He still seems to be sleepwalking. How much does the set cost in total? 198 million, Manager Liang did the calculations, which included various taxes. Of course, this number was obtained by directly erasing the remaining fractions. I have been told not to engage in clever tricks with this customer, and there is no need for discounts. Because this is a customer request. Manager Liang didn't dare to ask anything, so he just did as he was told. It's not a big problem to erase the bits and pieces. After that, he stared at Li Chen carefully, just worried that Li Chen would be dissatisfied. Fortunately, Li Chen was not dissatisfied. Okay, let's go to see the second set, which is also for little boys. Okay, there is one next door and one upstairs. Manager Liang said immediately. Li Chen took a few little guys into the second set. The format was similar, but the decoration were slightly different, and the obvious difference could still be felt. Sci-fi, do you like it? Li Chen asked. Li Nanfei nodded blankly. He himself was very unreal. Such a big house, actually bought it like this? Dad is too arrogant, right? Is there one more suitable for girls? Li Chen asked again. Yes. Next to each other. It's upstairs. Let's take a look. Li Chen held Li Biwu, and Li Donglong followed behind. At this moment, the four little guys looked at Li Chen with obviously different eyes. Especially Li Donglong, his eyes had a little more recognition and less resistance. After buying 4 houses, they still paid in full. This is enough to show that this man is not bad, and he is still worthy of his mother. Even though he has been away for these years, the mother and son have suffered a lot of grievances. But Li Chen's current performance is remarkable. The house types here are similar, and the main difference is the interior decoration style and decorative style. This kind of place that targets the special needs of the market is naturally unique. Li Zifeng and Li Biwu, the 2 children, are looking at rooms that are more girl style, and their enthusiasm is obviously much higher than that of Li Donglong and Li Nanfei. Looking at the 2 little girls playing in it, Li Chen smiled and said, "Does Xiao like it?" "I love it." "Then Dad will buy it for you and your sister." Li Chen smiled. Okay. Li Biwu rushed over and gave Li Chen a loud kiss. Li Zifeng was still a little embarrassed, but she blushed and thanked shyly. "Then let's take these 4 sets. Let's calculate the total price. If you can get the program done in one go, do it in one go. If you can't, notify us later," Li Chen said. In the next period of time, Li Chen will start to fight for 100 billion. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 284. Li Chen took Murong Shui to rest in the VIP room. Li Biwu was sticking to Li Donglong, Li Nanfei was watching Duyan, and Li Zifeng was playing games. Manager Liang had already prepared various contracts and materials. With privileges, it was still possible to get everything done at once. What's more, this is a big customer. Even the higher UPS would give a certain green light. This is a society of favors. Of course, some favors are gone once they are used up, but some favors must be used up. Murong Shui sat beside Li Chen and said softly, "You bought 4 houses this time, so you don't have much money." "Shui, don't worry." Li Chen held her little hand and said seriously, "I have already made a detailed plan for the next month. Don't worry, I have a lot of industries in my hometown, and they can all make money. In addition, I have investments, and I plan to mobilize all of them this time. In addition, I have a lot of family skills that can be used this time. There are some things that I can't tell you now, but please believe me, I can do it." Murong Shui's eyes were full of tenderness, and she held Li Chen's hand tightly. "I believe you," Murong Shui said softly. "By the way, the deadline between me and the family is up in a week." "Deadline?" Li Chen asked puzzledly. "Well, didn't you retire last time? You can come back this time." Murong Shui's eyes flashed with loneliness. Li Chen could see that Murong Shui still liked acting very much. "So what are your plans?" Murong Shui said, I just want to ask for your opinion. Do you mind? Murong Shui stared at Li Chen with bright eyes. It can be seen that she is still a little worried. In fact, it is not difficult to understand why Murong Shui has such an idea. Most people are not particularly able to accept their wives entering the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry is a big dive at and is really not a good place. At the beginning, Murong Shui was because of the background of the Murong family, so most people did not dare to have any ideas about her. But now, she is likely to tear her face with the Murong family. When she gets into the entertainment industry, it may not be as smooth as before. Of course, what she cares more about is Li Chen's opinion. Li Chen said seriously, whether you believe it or not, I support you. Love is a two-way journey. Although I am not ready yet, if you really like it, then you can go after it boldly. As for the rest of the things, I will help you get it done. Really, Murong Shui never expected that Li Chen didn't mind at all. In fact, Li Chen didn't really mind. It's just that he didn't want Murong Shui to give up her own hobbies and dreams because of him. In this case, he would join the game. If Murong Shui wants to act, then he will open a film and television company and be her sponsor. He will invest the most expensive money in everything, even if Murong Shui has been out of the limelight for 10 years. If she makes a debut again, he can also let her debut at the peak. Li Chen said seriously, of course it's true, leave this to me, you can pursue your dreams without worry. Thank you, husband. Murong Shui's pretty face turned red and said coquettishly. Li Chen was like being electrocuted, and he laughed, call me again. Husband, Murong Shui's pretty face turned red as blood, but she still shouted as she was told. Ahem, Li Chen was a little floating, but when he saw that the children all had strange eyes, he immediately sat up straight. What are you looking at? Check your phones. Li Nanfei and Li Zifeng lowered their heads together, and Li Donglong twisted his silly sister's head and looked out the window. At this time, Manager Liang had already arrived with a pile of documents. Signing these things was also quite troublesome. Then Murong Shui had to sign on behalf of them. After all, the 4 children were not yet adults. Some of them needed to hold the children and take photos, etc., just signing the documents. When all the things were done, it was already noon. Finally, everything was finally settled, and Li Chen took the 4 children and completed the handover in an instant. Xiaolong, Xiaofeng, Xiaofei, Xiaoe, come here. Murong Shui shouted. The 4 little guys immediately ran over and stood in a row obediently. Murong Shui picked up the property certificate and said, now, Mom will keep this thing for you. As for the rest, put them in your respective rooms, understand? I know. Okay, wait for your dad here. Murong Shui sat down with her 4 children in her arms. They looked at these things curiously. Li Chen went to pay with Manager Liang. Hello, Mr. Li, the total cost of the 4 houses is 403,920,000. In addition, there are other expenses, such as property and parking spaces, which have also been calculated for you. The total is 4,980,000, so you need to pay a total of 408,900,000. 408,900,000. How could ordinary people come up with this amount? And Li Chen's card has long been upgraded to the highest authority, and the payment has been made in advance. So, when Li Chen paid 408,900,000, there was no problem. Ding, detecting the host's consumption, a 20-fold rebate has been triggered, and 8,178,000,000 yuan has been credited. When a crisp ding sound came from the system, Li Chen couldn't help but look overjoyed. Originally, there were 1,042,982,019 in the system, 408,900,000 was deducted, and then the system returned 8.178 billion. At this moment, Li Chen's wealth finally made a qualitative leap. Ding. Followed by another crisp sound. The system began to change. Li Chen's eyes suddenly lit up. The total consumption exceeded 100 million, and the return was upgraded again this time. 50 times return. So, it is easier to make money and return it now. Host, Li Chen. Wealth, 8,812,082,019. Skills, Ultimate Fighting Skills. Medical Skills, Perfect Level. Beast Taming, Advanced. Return Points, 450,737. Return Level, 50 times. 0/10,000,000,000,000. Currency exchange, 1:20,000. After the black screen, the system finally lit up again and the screen popped up. At this moment, Li Chen's system interface was finally updated. The total wealth has reached 8.8 billion. It can be said that it has increased 8 times at once. It is amazing. And the return point column is also the highest ever for Li Chen. This time, Li Chen finally doesn't have to worry about upgrading any skills, and the return points are not enough. A full 450,000 return points. As for the 50-fold return, this is the magic weapon for Li Chen's next rise. Li Chen couldn't help but smile. This time, he finally had the confidence to carry out a series of follow-up plans. Unless it is absolutely necessary, Li Chen doesn't want to and is unwilling to go to war with the Murong family. But some things are hard to say. Li Chen must be prepared early. Mr. Li, please wait a moment. We still have some documents that need your signature. After all, the amount is too large. Okay, Li Chen nodded. After Manager Liang left, Li Chen immediately opened the system. Before, many things were stuck at the last step, mainly because the return points were not enough. This should be possible now. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 285. Li Chen's medical skills are only comparable to the perfect level, but have never reached the God level. Upgrading from perfect level to God level requires 11,888 points. At this moment, Li Chen looked at his inventory return point and couldn't help but smile. Upgrade your medical skills. Upgrade your divine medical skills, are you sure? Yes. When the system went dark and then turned on again, the medical skills column had become God level. Ding. Since the host has a skill that has reached the top level, the final authority for this skill is granted. Final authority? Li Chen was slightly confused. The medical skill column changed again, and a new prompt appeared. Educated from ancient times to today. Li Chen clicked it and then understood what final authority meant. God-level medical skills are already the ceiling that human medical skills can achieve today. Upgrading further will mean being knowledgeable about the past and present, and knowing all the medical skills of the past, present, and future. Commonly known as immortality. This is also the final level. Once upgraded, it means that Li Chen can handle any disease on the earth. Depend on. Upgrade. Li Chen didn't hesitate. Upgrading immortal medical skills will consume 88,888 points. Are you sure? Yes. The next moment, countless information, countless cases, and countless unprecedented things poured into Li Chen's mind. Li Chen's brain was absorbing crazily. After he absorbed it, he looked at the second skill. The art of controlling animals. At the beginning, he only learned the advanced method of controlling animals. Next there are the perfect level and the God level. If divided according to medical skills, there are probably immortal levels. The rebate points of more than 400,000 don't seem to be enough. Upgrading to the perfect level of beast control will cost 2,888 points. Are you sure? Yes. Upgrading the Divine Beast Control skill will consume 11,888 points. Are you sure? Yes. 2 more streams of information and countless methods poured into his mind. Li Chen's amount of information was astonishingly large. At this moment, Li Chen's beast control skills have reached the divine level. Although the system prompted that you could upgrade to immortal, I gave up after thinking about it. The beast control technique will be of great use after returning, so forget it now. God level is enough to handle everything. And then, there are only about 33 return points left. Li Chen clicked on his own skills column, but still stayed at the ultimate fighting skills. That is to say, it is comparable to Gu Wu's late stage level of Anjin. Above the level of dark power, one is a powerful master. Upgrade your own skills, release your inner strength outwards, it will consume 188,888 points. Are you sure? Holy shit. Li Chen was dumbfounded when he saw this upgrade point. Does it cost so much to upgrade from the engine level to the Grandmaster level? Li Chen couldn't help but ask. Yes. It shouldn't be difficult to be a master, right? Grandmaster, you can choose one among millions. That's not much, Li Chen complained. A warrior is just one person in 100,000 people. These warriors are all comparable to free fighting and UFC champions. Above the warriors, there are those with strong Ming dynasty. Choose one from a million. Above the Ming Jin, there is a strong dark Jin. Choose one from 5 million. Grandmaster, choose one out of 10 million. Li Chen. At this moment, Li Chen realized that the probability of Te Miao becoming a master was so low. Only 1 in 10 million people? Only 10 out of 100 million people? So with so many people in China, there are only 140 or 50 grandmasters. Li Chen always thought that the grandmaster was a cabbage. 140-50, is that much among 1.4 billion people? It's almost negligible. No wonder upgrading requires so many return points. What abilities does the Grandmaster have? Li Chen asked. Existences of this level are almost rare. Grandmaster, the inner energy can be released from the body, the chi can be controlled to kill people invisible, and the body protecting chi can be formed outside the body, pistols, etc. are indestructible, but for a short period of time, he could control his energy and fly into the air, leaping more than 10 feet, or even hundreds of feet. Even though Li Chen knew that the system was abnormal, he was really shocked when he learned that a vertical leap could reach more than 10 feet recently. 1 foot is 3.33 meters. Even if it can only jump 10 feet, it is 33.3 meters. What a terrifying concept. Not to mention some powerful masters can leap hundreds of feet. That's more than 300 meters, close to 400 meters, which is the length of a full track. Is that human being? At this moment, Li Chen finally understood what it meant to be a master and not to be insulted. This kind of person can already be regarded as a fairy-like figure, right? Upgrade. Yes. Li Chen gritted his teeth and upgraded. At this moment, the system has undergone new changes. Host, Li Chen. Wealth, 8,812,082,019. Skills, release inner energy outwards. Medical skills, immortal level. Beast control, God level. Return points, 146,297. Return level, 50 times. 0/10,000,000,000,000. Currency exchange, 1:20,000. Even Li Chen can only call him good guy. A full 450,000 rebate points. This time, only 3 aspects were upgraded, and only 140,000 refund points were left. And next, he has to use the return point to do something. After all this time, the refund points are still not enough. You can only exchange for more than 70,000 drops of vitality water. What makes Li Chen feel even more annoyed is that he is still only in the early stage of the Grandmaster. Deep sadness emerges in my heart. Forget it, let's continue to spend money. However, at this moment, Li Chen's temperament is restrained, and his spirit has been greatly improved. At this moment, he has already stepped into the ranks of world masters. Except for the Grandmaster and those above the Grandmaster, it is almost impossible for anyone to threaten him. At this time, Manager Liang has come with a lot of documents. After Li Chen signed, he immediately sent Li Chen out. Seeing Li Chen come out with a smile on his face, Murong Shui and the 4 children all breathed a sigh of relief. Let's go, Li Chen smiled and picked up Li Biwu and said, let's go to see the car. Murong Shui couldn't laugh anymore. It turned out that Li Chen was not joking. He really wanted to make up for what he didn't have before. Buy a car, Li Nanfei poked his head out. Do you like it? I like it, Li Nanfei nodded, like a chick pecking at rice, but I can't drive. It doesn't matter, hire a driver. Great, Li Nanfei was so excited that he wanted to jump up. Let's go buy a car. Even Li Donglong couldn't help but get a little excited. Is he going to own his first car? Li Donglong couldn't believe it, but Li Chen didn't seem to be lying. As for Li Zifeng, the active factor in her body couldn't be suppressed. No matter whether she can drive now, having a car of her own is simply cool in her eyes. Li Chen sat in the driver's seat, and the 4 little guys sat in the back seat in the same way as before. Then let's go, Li Chen started the car, and the car slowly drove forward. Thick hair, Li Biwu, the king of support, shouted immediately. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 286. For Li Chen, buying a car and giving gifts to his children is just one aspect. More importantly, he also wants to spend more money to redeem his wife. Of course, you have to spend money, but while you are spending money, you must also arrange things in reality properly. Money appearing out of thin air is hard to explain. Although the system may be arranged, who can say clearly? Li Chen still wanted to have an extra layer of insurance. At least, he wanted to make his real worth skyrocket. The layout is also so that I can take my wife and children back to live there in the future, so that there won't be any annoying problems. Speaking of luxury cars that can be bought for money, it is not difficult for Li Chen. As for top sports cars, Li Chen had also played with some, but at that time, the Li family's financial strength had not reached its peak. Therefore, he doesn't play much. Such as Ferrari 488, Porsche 911, Audi R8, Audi TT, Lamborghini Aventador, Bentley Continental GT, Aston Martin Rapide, etc., these are all world-class luxury cars. Diamond suit. In a place like the capital, it is natural to catch a lot of them. Of course, there are many world-class famous cars, but they may not be available in China, and they may not be available in a short period of time. There is also a possibility of picking it up and buying it second-hand. Generally, the mileage of this kind of famous race is not very long. Li Chen could name more sports cars, but it was a bit difficult to actually buy them. It's not that there's not enough money, it's that some conditions don't allow it. Dad, Li Nanfei sat in the back seat and asked, do you have a Koenigsegg Agera? Li Chen glanced at his youngest son in surprise, but then he understood. Li Nanfei, who is involved in the entertainment industry, probably knows better than the other 3 little guys. Koenigsegg has launched a new series of cars after the CC series. It's what Li Nanfei just said. Although it is a new car series, the classic design elements unique to Koenigsegg have not changed. The overall design is still fish-shaped, with horizontal flip-up doors, leaf-shaped headlights, etc. But to be honest, the performance of this Agera is still slightly worse than that of CCXR. Of course, this does not mean that the new car is not excellent. After all, it uses its own twin-turbo V8 instead of the old car's twin superchargers. If he can win this car, Li Chen can still earn a lot of money. This car is also very cool, no wonder Li Nanfei likes it. Of course, if he could buy Koenigsegg 1:1, then Li Chen would be happy. However, he could only think about it. There are only 6 limited editions of this kind of car produced in the world, 5 of which are produced domestically. The price is 100 million, and it is also commonly known as a ghost sports car. Soon, Li Chen and the others arrived at the car dealership. It can be said here that the car categories are the most complete. Moreover, Li Chen discovered a phenomenon. Generally speaking, cars like Aston Martin or Koenigsegg that are particularly popular among ordinary people do not receive much attention. On the contrary, in the circle of car friends, cars like Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and Lamborghini are actually more popular. This is true even for the attention list and the top list. Li Chen got out of the car with Murong Shui and 4 children. People from the dealership immediately gathered around. "Hello sir, may I help you?" The person who came was a woman who was about 30 years old and spoke in a loud voice. Li Chen glanced at her nameplate and said with a smile, "Manager Lin, please show us the most expensive car here first." The most expensive? Manager Lin only flashed a hint of surprise, then showed a professional smile and said, "Please follow me." In the car dealership, there are still a dazzling array of cars on display. Li Donglong and Li Nanfei's eyes were dazzled. They have never seen so many luxury cars parked in one place at one time. More importantly, this is the first time in their lives that they have come to choose a car for themselves. This meaning is completely different. After entering another super hall, Li Nanfei and Li Donglong swallowed their saliva. The 2 brothers were stunned by these luxury cars in front of them. Although Li Zifeng's eyes were bright, he was far less excited than the 2 brothers. As for Li Biwu, as long as he is hugged by his father, he doesn't care about the car at all. Murong Shui stayed by Li Chen's side quietly. When she saw this dazzling scene, she couldn't help but click her tongue slightly. "This is the Ferrari car family." Manager Lin walked over and introduced, "This is the Ferrari 488, priced from 3.15 million to 4.18 million, depending on the options. This is a Ferrari 458, priced from 3.888 million to 4.4388 million. Wow! Li Donglong and Li Nanfei are just children after all, and they can only marvel at this moment. This is a Ferrari 430 Scuderia. This is the Ferrari 812 Superfast. This is really a Ferrari car group. There will be several cars in the future, such as Ferrari GTC4, Ferrari 599, Ferrari FF, Ferrari F12 Berla, and Ferrari Aglietti. This car is currently the most expensive in our store, the Ferrari Le Ferrari." When Manager Lin introduced the last car, he said, "This is the latest model using a hybrid power system called High-Kurs, a 6.3. The V12-liter naturally aspirated engine can output a maximum power of up to 588 kilowatts, and can accelerate from 100 kilometers to 100 kilometers. Stop, 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 Li Chen quickly interrupted. "You guys who buy cars and those who talk about cars, like to talk about unrealistic things according to the script. I want the car to be driven or collected. I have nothing to use. What's the point of speeding up the mileage? Don't tell me these nonsense. I played with the car before, just tell me how much it costs." Manager Lin opened his mouth. This person seemed to be knowledgeable. "It seems that the man in front of me seems to value this most expensive one. 22.5 million, finally." Manager Lin swallowed. Li Chen turned to look at his 2 sons. At this moment, The two little guys were completely stunned. Li Chen knew clearly without asking that his two sons were probably in love with each other. Xiaolong, Sci-fi, do you like this one? Li Donglong and Li Nanfei hesitated for a moment, then nodded their heads heavily. How can you not like this red whirlwind? The synonym for F1 is Ferrari. Li Chen saw these two little guys looking like they had no future, shook his head helplessly, and said to Manager Lin, two of these cars. Manager Lin's knees softened slightly and he almost knelt down. Are all people who buy cars today so arrogant? Mr. Li, this car is not available yet. It has to be transferred from Shanghai, it will take 2 months at the earliest, Manager Lin said excitedly. Add $500,000. Li Chen said lightly. Manager Lin's eyes widened and he breathed quickly, then let's urge you, within a month. 1 million. Mr. Li. 2 million. Manager Lin immediately puffed up his chest and said, in 3 days, I will deliver a car to Mr. Li's door. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 287. 2 cars are already worth 45 million. If you choose some other things, it is estimated that 50 million is not difficult. Now Li Chen has added 2 million, which is at least 52 million. And this is the price of 2 cars. Li Donglong and Li Nanfei were dumbfounded. Although the Murong family is also very rich and arrogant. But having money and being able to mobilize how much money have completely different meanings. Just like the Murong family claims to have 300 billion assets, can they really mobilize 300 billion? It must be impossible. Li Chen can take out so much money at once, which is really amazing. Shwe, do you want one too? Make a parent-child outfit. Parent-child outfit, have you ever seen a car with a parent-child outfit? Please be a human being. Manager Lin couldn't help but want to spit out the groan in his heart. After hearing this, Murong Shue lightly hit Li Chen, and this guy just talked nonsense. Let's take a look at the Porsche. I don't want a sports car, Murong Shue shook her head slightly. She didn't want to waste Li Chen's money. Li Chen immediately said seriously, I always listen to my wife. So, Manager Lin, do you have this Rolls-Royce? Manager Lin's heart beat hard and said, it's just a little bit next door. That's where our headquarters is. Rolls-Royce Jingxi Experience Store? Okay, take us there to have a look. Li Chen picked up Li Biwu and said, let's buy the car and then come together to pay. Manager Lin's heart trembled, and he was excited inside. He took Li Chen there with his legs and feet trembling slightly. This time he is going to make a fortune. This man is so arrogant. It's a pity that he already has a wife and even 4 children. Manager Lin smiled bitterly. He was just fantasizing. She didn't think she had the capital to deal with such a man. Mr. Li, Rolls-Royce now has 4 models, one is an SUV, one is a convertible version of the Dawn, and the other 2 are the Ghost and Phantom. Which one do you prefer? Ask my wife. Li Chen pointed to Murong Shue who was wearing a mask. Manager Lin felt sour when he heard this. They are all women, why are there such big differences in treatment? This man is handsome and his clothes are not too eye-catching, but he is so rich. The key is that he bought a car for his children and also bought one for his wife. How doting it is. It is not difficult for her to guess how high Murong Shue's status is in the family. How about the Phantom? Li Chen asked. Shue, do you like it? Murong Shue said helplessly, okay. Don't worry, the money is worth it. Besides, this is a gift from me to you and the 4 little babies, don't feel sorry for the money. Li Chen quickly comforted her. Murong Shue immediately nodded and said, then I'll listen to you. At this moment, Murong Shue no longer struggled. She felt sorry for Li Chen and didn't want to waste Li Chen's money. But in front of outsiders, she didn't want to refute Li Chen and not give him face. Since Li Chen said it was a gift for her and the child, If she still refused, it would embarrass Li Chen. As his woman, isn't it because you believe in him? Since he said he could make enough money, you have to trust him unconditionally. If you don't trust each other, how can you go on in the future? Li Chen saw that Murong Shui had figured it out, and he was relieved. How many models are there in this Phantom or? Mr. Li, the Phantom also has two versions, the standard version and the long wheelbase version. As soon as he heard the explanation, Li Chen immediately said, just look at the long wheelbase version. When they followed Manager Lin to the side, the eyes of Li Chen's family were immediately attracted by the bright purple car body. Low-key, restrained, luxurious, I don't know how to describe this nobleness. This car, to be precise, is a self-challenge of the bespoke design team, pushing the definition of perfection to a new level. Because popular luxury cars can often only add a certain degree of comfort to customers' journeys, but Rolls-Royce is different. They dig deep into customers' demand for top luxury in highly mobile modern life. Therefore, this glittering world Phantom Collector's Edition was born. Just a debut is enough to attract everyone's attention. This is a well-deserved focus. It can be said that when Li Chen and others saw this car, even when they observed it closely, they were already amazed by the extreme beauty. This car also has different storage spaces designed for men and women, with hidden storage compartments, open brackets, and accessories, which can accommodate hundreds of rivers. What watches, perfume bottles, jewelry and other personal belongings can be stored. In addition, the car is also equipped with 3 different handmade perfume bottles, whose craftsmanship comes from the Bresle Valley in northwestern France. 75% of the world's high-end perfume bottles are produced here. Not to mention, the driving experience is beyond the first-class cabin. Although Volkswagen luxury cars have first-class seats that can lie flat in the back row, they have to install safety equipment to compensate for the potential safety hazards faced by the body in a flat position. But this car of Rolls-Royce has been developed to the extreme, and even enhanced rear seats have been used. The rear seats have a perfect 27 degrees tilt angle, allowing the head to lean on the cushion in the most comfortable posture. When the passenger sits down, the electric leg support covered with fine calf skin automatically adjusts to a 68% tilt angle, giving the seat perfect support, and the electric foot pedal with a 30% tilt angle will rise under the feet. After Li Chen sat on it, he felt that every part of his body was fully relaxed and rested. The overall atmosphere of this car is extremely relaxing. It can be said that sitting in it, you don't want to come out at all. Is it comfortable? Li Chen asked. Li Biwu nodded obediently, and Li Zifeng also fell in love with this feeling. As for Li Donglong and Li Nanfei, they didn't squeeze in. The two little guys are still quite sensible. They already have their own new car, so next, it mainly depends on the experience of their mother and sisters. Anyway, they can also take a ride at that time. Li Chen smiled, looked at Manager Lin and said, "This car, I want it." Although Manager Lin was mentally prepared, he still didn't recover a little. 3 cars, is that it? Can it be done quickly? You still need to select the options. The reference price of this car is 13.97 million. Manager Lin reminded him kindly, after all, Li Chen has spent more than 50 million, and he may not be able to afford this car. Show me the options, Li Chen said immediately. When Manager Lin took the things over, Li Chen glanced at them and said, these, this, change them all to the best, all of these, you need to calculate. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 288. 1680. It's okay, it's okay. Li Chen saw the final quotation and said, can it be done quickly? Manager Lin hesitated to speak, but after thinking about it he finally said, you can hurry up. I'll give you 18 million. Can you deliver the goods earlier? Li Chen said with a smile. Manager Lin swallowed his saliva and nodded heavily. Not even if it's not fast. Don't think that if you sell luxury cars, you can't impress them with money. With an extra 1.2 million, it can be done no matter what. Dad Li Nanfei shouted softly. Ah! Why don't you buy it yourself? Li Nanfei whispered. Why do I want this thing? Li Chen shook his head with a smile and said to Manager Lin, Manager Lin, let me ask you something. If you know a friend who wants to sell a Koenigsegg, you can contact me, it doesn't matter how many times you contact me. Manager Lin was about to sign the order. After hearing this, his hands trembled slightly. This big customer still wants to buy a car? By the way, Xiaofeng, I almost forgot about you. Li Chen waved to Li Zifeng and said, do you like sports cars or cars? Don't be polite to Dad, you know. Li Zifeng, who usually considers herself the eldest sister, is extremely shy now. The main thing is that she is in a stage where she is neither getting better nor getting worse, which is very embarrassing. If you act coquettishly, it's not good. If you don't act coquettishly, you won't have any sense of existence. I can do anything, just listen to Dad, Li Zifeng said. This was the first time she called Li Chen daddy outside. Li Chen's heart also trembled slightly, and he quickly hugged this eldest daughter who seemed violent, but was also well behaved and sensible on the inside. Holding a little girl in his left hand, and another in his right hand, the father and daughter suddenly burst into laughter. Manager Lin, choose one for my daughter, the Ferrari limited edition F60. Manager Lin's hands were trembling even more. Who is this person? Is your money really not money? This car is a collector's edition and is sold in limited quantities. They can get it, but the price is not cheap, a full 19.84 million. This car has a convertible body design. The body is carefully crafted and the lines are well proportioned. It can be said that it is extremely good looking and beautiful. And it's still painted blue. Li Chen remembered that Li Zifeng liked blue. This car has nothing to say about other aspects. However, they all need to be transferred from Shanghai. Do you like this one? Yeah, Li Zifeng nodded shyly. Then this is the one, Li Chen said to Manager Lin, choose the one with the best configuration for my daughter. Calculate how much it costs in total. Can all three Ferraris be delivered together? Yes, Manager Lin stopped talking nonsense this time. After all, Li Chen had spent so much money and increased the price by more than 3 million. The final price of this Ferrari FA was fixed at 23.8 million. In other words, this time, Li Chen Guang spent nearly 100 million on these cars. It's scary enough. After Manager Lin calculated it clearly, he took Li Chen and the others to the VIP room to sit down and said, the two Ferrari Le Ferrari, plus the previous options and fees, total 52 million, and this Ferrari FA is 23.8 million. That Le Ferrari Slice Phantom is 18 million, total is 93.8 million. Upon hearing this price, Murong Shue's heart clenched tightly. Today, Li Cheng spent more than 500 million just for his mother, son, and daughter. She vaguely remembered Li Nanfei saying that Li Chen only had more than 600 million, right? Isn't this all almost spent? It would be a lie if I said in my heart that I wasn't moved. Pay directly. Li Chen didn't hesitate, not knowing that Murong Shue felt sorry for him. When the payment of 93.8 million was successful, the system finally made a ding sound. Ding. Detecting host consumption, 50 times rebate has been triggered, and 4,690 million yuan has been credited. At this moment, Li Chen didn't have much trouble in his heart. Only 4.69 billion. However, the speed at which Li Chen spent money today was undoubtedly extremely fast. Originally, his wealth was already 8.8 billion. After deducting the 93.8 million he spent today, he got a rebate of 4.69 billion, easily breaking the 10 billion mark. Host, Li Chen. Wealth, 13,408,282,019. Skills, release inner energy outwards. Medical skills, immortal level. Beast control, god level. Return points, 240,097. Return level, 50 times. 93,800,000,10,000,000,000,000. Currency exchange, 1:20,000. At this moment, Li Chen's total wealth has reached 13.4 billion. The return points have once again reached the level of 240,000. The distance is 1,334.4 billion, and 1/10 of the way has been completed without even realizing it. Li Chen was ecstatic, but he didn't say anything. After a series of contracts were filled out, it didn't take long. There are still very few people who buy things quickly like Li Chen. After finishing all this, Li Chen was about to take his wife and children out to relax, when he saw Manager Lin walking quickly with a tablet. "Mr. Li, please wait a moment. What else does Manager Lin have to do? Aren't you asking about Koenigsegg?" Manager Lin said cautiously. "I asked someone here and found out that someone really wants to sell it." Li Chen's eyes lit up slightly. Even if this thing is second-hand, the price will not be cheap. After all, it is a global limited edition, which is really very rare. This is the contact information. Take a look. It is reported that the owner is also a second generation, but because his company is not doing well, so a person who can afford Koenigsegg is actually broke. Sell all his beloved cars? How bleak is the company's business? After hearing the news, Murong Shue's eyebrows suddenly gathered. She had a vague premonition and guessed who it was. "Shue, what's wrong with you?" Li Chen also noticed Murong Shue's change. "What's this person's name? Can I contact him?" Murong Shue took the initiative to speak this time. "Okay," Manager Lin immediately said, "his name is Riding a Snail to See the Sea." He didn't say a specific name, but you can contact him. Murong Xue's face changed again. Now, she was sure who was going to sell the car. Seeing Murong Xue's change, Li Chen immediately said, "Then give me the contact information, and tell him that I want a car." Okay, Manager Lin handled it quickly, and the other side replied immediately. Said that he could see the car now, and he needed money urgently. Li Chen was even more surprised. This should be a man, but from Shue's appearance, he seemed to know him. Could it be that this man had something to do with Shue? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 289. After leaving the car dealership with his stuff, Li Chen immediately contacted the owner of the car Riding a Snail to See the Sea. "Hello, I want to buy a car." Li Chen sent a message. "I know the place, I'll take you there," Murong Shue said. Li Chen was stunned. He didn't expect Murong Shue to admit it directly. But if Murong Shue didn't say it, Li Chen wouldn't ask. Murong Shue directly entered the address on the navigation and said, "Just go here." Okay. Without further ado, he started the car and took the four little ones directly there. Murong Shue seemed very silent along the way. This also made Li Chen more curious. Who is this man nicknamed Riding a Snail to See the Sea? After driving for about an hour, Li Chen entered a relatively quiet area. This side can also be regarded as a luxury residential area. But relatively speaking, this place does not fit the feeling of a person who can afford a 100 million luxury car. Of course, this place is already near the outside of the Third Ring Road. How could Shue know such a person? After stopping the car, Li Chen got out first and took the little ones down. Murong Shue took Li Chen and four babies and walked inside with ease. This is the villa area. The mansion in front of him was not very expensive. Murong Shui stood at the door and shouted, "Brother, open the door." "Brother," Li Chen's eyes almost popped out. He remembered that Murong Shui said that Murong Hung's only had 2 daughters, so how could there be another brother? Perhaps he heard the sound outside, and a man with slightly long hair but white skin ran out. After seeing Murong Shui, Li Chen, and Li Donglong, the young man exclaimed, "Shui, can you come out?" He rushed over and opened the door. Murong Shui pulled Li Chen and said, "This is my cousin. Ya Yonggan." Li Chen was also at a loss for words at this moment. After all this time, this man was Shui's cousin. "This is my husband Li Chen." "Husband?" Ya Yonggan's face suddenly darkened, and he stretched out his hand and suddenly grabbed Li Chen's collar. "It was you, a bastard, who made Shui so miserable." Ya Yonggan's handsome little face became a little distorted. He originally wanted to teach Li Chen a lesson and lift Li Chen up by the way. As a result, he couldn't lift him up. You know, Ya Yonggan is like Popeye, with great strength. Usually, lifting a person weighing more than 100 pounds is like playing. But unexpectedly, he fell today. Ya Yonggan's face was weird, and then he increased his strength, but the man in front of him still didn't move. "Don't be arrogant, I tell you, I." Ya Yonggan used all his strength, but Li Chen still didn't move. "Damn it!" Ya Yonggan cursed in his heart, "What the hell is this?" He wanted to vent his anger for his sister, but ended up hitting a wall. "Hello, cousin," Li Chen shouted with an apologetic smile. "I'm not your brother." Ya Yonggan felt a little embarrassed. He even mentioned a pretty boy who looked more handsome than him. It was really shameful. "Sister, come on, let's go in and sit down." Murong Shui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Cousin, you are so stubborn." "Xiaolong, Xiaofeng, Xiaofei, Xiaowu, call uncle." Li Donglong sneered, and the style of a cold and domineering little president was successfully held up. Li Zifeng snorted and didn't want to pay attention to this uncle. Li Nanfei wore sunglasses and kept silent coolly. So, Ya Yonggan looked at the youngest Li Biwu very embarrassedly. "Bad silver?" Li Biwu said fiercely. Ya Yonggan's face was stiff, and he said, "How come uncle is a bad guy?" Bad guy, you still bully my dad. I don't want to pay attention to you." Ya Yonggan. What's wrong with me bullying your dad?" "Your dad, this bastard, made you and your daughter suffer so much. Is it wrong for me to seek revenge on him?" At this moment, Ya Yonggan felt that the world was not friendly to him. The cutest little niece actually didn't like him. "Xiao Wu, uncle is helping you get revenge, you know." No, Li Biwu pouted, "Dad didn't bully Xiao Wu, uncle is a bad guy." Ya Yonggan. Now he understood it. It turned out that these 4 little guys ignored him. Did he just lift Li Chen's collar? What the hell is this? Shouldn't these 4 little guys blame this cheap brother-in-law? The atmosphere was a little awkward for a while. Murong Shui was also at a loss for words. She didn't expect that the 4 little guys would actually protect their children. "Brother, let's go in and talk." "Hey, okay. Ya Yonggan originally wanted to lock Li Chen outside, but when he saw the looks of his 4 little nephews, he felt cold in his heart. "Forget it, I won't teach this cheap brother-in-law a lesson for the time being. If I really teach him a lesson, these 4 little guys might turn against their uncle." Li Chen couldn't help but smile, picked up Li Biwu, and kissed him hard. "Although you are a stumbling block in your father's love, I have to say that you protect your children just like me. It's not in vain that you love them. Let's go." Li Chen pulled the 4 little guys into the house. Originally, the villa looked quite luxurious, but after entering, Li Chen found that it was not as luxurious as he had imagined. Instead, it was particularly plain and simple. Seeing Li Chen pulling the 4 little guys to sit down, Yongan was envious. Once upon a time, he was also treated like this. Now it is estimated that he can't count on it. Brother, why do you suddenly want to sell the car? Murong Shui asked immediately after sitting down. Hey! Yongan sighed, isn't this because the company can't go on? There is no capital turnover for the time being. Murong Shui heard this and her face immediately darkened. I'm sorry, it's all my. What are you talking about? Yongan said with a serious face, we are all a family. Do you think that without you, our family will be better off? Li Chen sat quietly, listening to the conversation between the cousins, and he could guess roughly. The family was probably also implicated in the Murong Shui incident. At least it shows that the people on Murong Shui's mother's side are determined to protect Murong Shui. Otherwise, Murong Shui would not have been able to live in peace for all these years. Did the He family take action? Murong Shui asked. Who else could it be? Yongan sneered, it's just a dog of the Zheng family. Li Chen frowned slightly. The water in the capital seemed to be very deep. Even the He family, which is in the second echelon, can only be a dog. Then this Zheng family must be in the same echelon as the Xianyuan family. The family, I have never heard of it. I guess it is not even in the third echelon. Facing the He family, which is in the second echelon, it is no wonder that it is so miserable. What business does my cousin mainly do? Li Chen couldn't help asking. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 290. Just after Li Chen finished asking, Yongan's face suddenly flushed. Seeing Yongan's behavior, Li Chen almost couldn't handle it. You are a grown man, why are you blushing? Murong Shui also looked a little embarrassed and said, my brother is a pig farmer. Li Chen. Rich family raising pigs. Even Li Chen's nerves were thick, and he was a little confused at this moment. Can raising pigs become a wealthy family? This is something. Perhaps Yongan didn't expect that he would die so badly, so he immediately gave it a try. What's wrong with raising pigs? Do you know how scarce pork is now? My family has been a large pig farmer for generations. If it weren't for. At this point, Yongan stopped immediately and sighed, raising pigs was really profitable in the past. Our family's pig farms were once opened all over the country, and it was considered the top pig farmer. Puff. Li Chen couldn't help it. You put pig farming and top stars together. I wonder if some top stars will scold you to death if they know about it? But think about it from another angle. Being able to open the pig farming industry to all parts of the country is enough to prove that this family still has some level. If there is no level, it can't be such a big industry. It can be said that at this point, pig farming is not just pig farming. There are probably countless industrial chains supporting it. After all, the industrial chain that pork can support is really huge. However, once pig farming loses money, it will be a blood loss, the kind of loss of money. The family came up from the bottom. Even if they made money, they still guarded the conscience. Some people's pigs got sick and were slaughtered and sold immediately. But the family never did this. If a pig had a problem, it is very likely that dozens or hundreds of pigs would be handled at the same time, and even thousands of pigs could be handled at most. This is very scary. Once it is handled, the hundreds of thousands or millions will be easily wasted. This does not include the manpower, material resources, and time costs. It is an astronomical figure. What's more terrible is that the family's system realizes its own internal circulation. In other words, once a key industrial chain has problems, especially when there are problems at the source, it is almost expected that the family will lose an astronomical figure. At least, this is the case for the family who have worked hard to climb to this position. The advantages of self-sufficiency are obvious, but the disadvantages are also particularly obvious. Everything cannot have only bad or good sides, That does not exist. After knowing the general situation of the Ye family, Li Chen frowned slightly. He also raised pigs at home. But his own pigs are fat and plump, nothing to say, keep an eye on them. It is estimated that by the end of the year, the pig will grow to more than 300 kilograms or even 400 kilograms. Li Chen looked at Ye Yonggan and said, "Can I take a look?" Ah, including Murong Shui, everyone was slightly stunned. I don't quite understand why Li Chen suddenly wants to see the pigs. What is he doing? Why? I've also raised pigs, so I can still see something. Can I take a look? Li Chen said with a smile. Ye Yonggan looked at Li Chen with a strange expression, with a face full of disbelief. You have raised pigs before? Don't make me laugh. You probably haven't even seen a live pig, right? Here, we only have one pig farm, and the rest of the pig farms are in other places, Ye Yonggan said perfunctorily. Their Ye family is an expert in this area, but in recent years, pigs have not been raised, which is also a headache. Li Chen looked at Ye Yonggan's expression and knew that this person didn't believe him very much. He didn't care at the moment, so he said, "You want to sell a car?" Yes, Ye Yonggan nodded. How much do you plan to sell Koenigsegg for? Li Chen asked again. Why? You want to buy it? Ye Yonggan pouted, not that he looked down on Li Chen. Now, although my sister's situation is better than before, my sister must pay back the debt of the Murong family. You have money to buy a car, but you don't pay off my sister's debt? Ye Yonggan's favorability towards Li Chen in his heart has decreased a lot. Yes, Li Chen really didn't care much about the psychological activities of this cousin, and said, "Sell it. If you sell it, I will give you a satisfactory price." Ye Yonggan just picked up the cup, and his face suddenly sank. "I will sell it to anyone but you." At this moment, Ye Yonggan completely turned his face. Although it is indeed a bit too much to ask Li Chen to help his sister pay off the debt. But my sister has been keeping her virginity for you for so many years, and has given birth to 4 children for you. 10 years of house arrest, you have to show some respect, right? You come to buy a car when you have money? Ye Yonggan was in a bad mood and didn't want to talk to Li Chen. No wonder this man appeared after so many years. Murong Shui quickly grabbed Li Chen and said to Ye Yonggan, "Brother, Li Chen really wants this car, just sell it to him." Ye Yonggan's face darkened, and he put the cup heavily on the coffee table and said, "Are you confused? Why do you protect such a person? He hasn't appeared for so many years, and now he finally appears. I don't expect him to pay off all your debts, but at least he has to take responsibility, right? Look at what he did. Buy a car? Can you eat it? After buying this car, how many times can you drive it? I feel sorry for you." After hearing what their uncle said, the 4 little kids of Li Donglong also had complicated expressions. Only Li Chen looked calm. Although Ye Yonggan was very rude to him, and even unfriendly. But Li Chen had to admit that Ye Yonggan, his cousin, cared and loved Shui. He was just thinking about things from his perspective and standpoint. From his perspective, Li Chen was a scumbag. He was not even qualified to be with Shui. If it weren't for Shui and the 4 little ones, Ye Yonggan might have kicked him out. How could Li Chen blame Ye Yonggan? Buying Koenigsegg is just a quick way to spend money. After all, it is a car worth 100 million. Even if it is second-hand, it takes more than 90 million to get it. Instead of buying someone else's, it is better to buy this cousin's, so that he can have money to turn around and deal with emergencies. What's more, he, Li Chen, can also spend money. A rebate of 100 million is 5 billion. This business kills 2 birds with 1 stone. How can he lose money? As for helping Shui pay off her debt, he will not avoid it. This is his responsibility and his obligation. Li Chen held Murong Shui, looked at Ye Yonggan and said seriously, "Cousin, whether you believe it or not, I, Li Chen, have put my words here. Schwer's debt is caused by me, I will pay it off. Are you going to pay it back with your life? Ye Yongan cursed, he hated this kind of guy who was full of lies the most. More than 100 billion, even if he was at the peak of the Ye family, he couldn't do it.